WandaVision, I'm sure you've watched it. Many people have. I have. That the fans have sort of conjured up. In a little segment I want to call Crazy Stupid Theories, where we just go through crazy stupid theories in movies and TV shows. And today we'll be just going through one or two theories that I sort of found entertaining, quite funny, and a little bit crazy at times. So yeah, let's begin. Today I am with my co-host Byron Parry.
Good to be here.
This theory comes from a Reddit user. In episode 9, Monica and Pietro decide to work together against Wanda and Agatha. Personally, I think that's where they're going with it. Maybe not Pietro. I don't know if we get a lot of him in episode 9. He's sort of been like sort of a pawn for Agatha. And I don't really see him teaming up with Monica per se. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, obviously this is a little bit crazy in my opinion. Monica and Pietro, I can't see how that would come about. And also Wanda and Agatha, I can't really see them being together per se, but
because obviously Wanda's under Agatha's control, so she can like mind control her.
Yeah, well, I'm speculative whether Agatha is going to be the villain in the start episode.
Yeah.
But I think after episode 8, it kind of confirmed that she's going to be in the battle at least.
Okay, so you think it's going to be like Vision and her children and whatnot against Agatha, and maybe a secret villain. Yes, that's right now. So yeah, and then the second bullet point here: during a fight between Wanda and Pietro, Wanda assesses Pietro's mind, and we see a scene from Michael Fassbender's Magneto. Ooh, but it is not a new scene. Okay, that's sort of interesting. What do you think about this one?
I think that's a bit too out there. I can't see anything of that.
Yeah, do you think it's because he says it's not a new scene? So they're basically using like a scene from like Apocalypse or something.
Yeah. Potentially, but again, I think it's so out there. I can't see Wanda and Pietro because obviously Vision can switch Pietro.
Yes, he can. Yeah, with his undisclosed powers.
So I can't see Pietro being against Wanda in the final episode.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and it's sort of weird that it's not a new scene. they're just gonna sort of crop out a scene from like an X-Men film and just smack it down. But also, Michael Fassbender, that would introduce, of course, Magneto to the MCU. Do you think that would be a sort of a good move?
If Marvel want to go down the multiverse route, then I can see that being that would make sense.
No, imagine it's Ian McKellen just in his wheelchair coming through the portal.
In the comic, it was revealed that Magneto was Wanda's father. So I can see that as a possibility for sure, and I'm hoping it's Michael Fassbender.
But I'll say possible, but seems a bit odd, really, just using a random scene from an X-Men film. Okay, the next point comes as he says, Pietro really is Fox's Peter Maximoff. Yes. I really want this to happen so much, because when you think about it, it really wouldn't make much sense for them to introduce Quicksilver, especially Evan Peters as Quicksilver, and not make him the Fox Quicksilver. Yeah, I think it sort of makes sense because obviously they introduced Quicksilver in the 5th episode, I believe, and obviously they introduced him as Fox's Quicksilver, as most of the Marvel fans know him as Evan Peters. So I don't think it'll make much sense if he wasn't Fox's Quicksilver, unless they sort of move, work around it and give a sort of an explanation of sorts. But what do you think about that?
Well, I agree with what you said, and I'm also very hopeful that that is the case. I've also obviously Agnes was in control of Pietro or Peter. And I've seen a lot of theories saying that it could be Mephisto, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the theories as well going around. And I don't know, because Disney haven't actually gone down that route of introducing, Satan of all people. Mainly because
it might be a bit too far,
and also because they're distributing their content worldwide. And a country like China, if they were to introduce Mephisto and release, the WandaVision episode there, the Chinese government have sort of a rule against showing, Satan or the devil. So I don't know if Disney are suited to do such a thing like that, especially such a well-known, respected brand as Disney. But we'll see. So let's move on to the next point. Monica's space engineer friend is Blue Marvel, and he will be played by John Boyega in the series and will appear in episode 9 in some scenes with Jimmy, of course, John Krasinski. So obviously the engineer, sort of the question, who is the engineer, has been going around the internet ever since his name was mentioned like twice. Anyways, and obviously he's this person here believes that it's not the woman that we saw in episode 8 or 7, I believe. So he thinks it's actually someone else, and that someone else is Blue Marvel, played by John Boyega. I think it's a pretty good theory, to be honest. It'll be a cool way to introduce a pretty well-known character to the Marvel fandom. So what do you think on this take here, Byron?
Well, I think that's the biggest question that needs answering in the last episode. Blue Marvel, I'm not too sure. I know in the comics that Monica has a relationship, I believe,
with Blue Marvel.
With Blue Marvel, yeah.
Because I'm not too aware of sort of
history.
Me
neither.
But yeah.
But also it begs the question: is this who Paul Bettany was talking about? Is this the same person?
Yeah, that could be
as the engineer friend. But I was hoping for something a bit more out there, something like Reed Richards. I can't see it happening.
Yeah.
They have
introduced one of the most famous characters in a TV show. I don't think that's
but he is also an aerospace engineer, isn't he?
Yes, he is, in the comics. So,
but I think that's just me being hopeful, to be honest.
Yeah, and then he goes on to say, shocking no one, in episode 9, Doctor Strange appears, and we have an even more intriguing participation. That is that of Professor Xavier, portrayed not by James McAvoy, but he says here, Patrick Stewart. Remember that Paul said he had the chance to work with an actor that he admired a lot? Well, I guess this is the one he was referring to, he says. What's your take on this, Warren?
Well, as for Doctor Strange, I think that's a lock. I think everyone can agree.
Yeah, if he doesn't appear, everyone's going to be disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Agnes got into the hex through her magic, didn't she? So I don't see how Doctor Strange won't realise that what's going on as well.
Exactly. Yeah, especially
as it's his duty, isn't it? Sort of
especially when actually one of the books in his book is missing, and it appears that she has it, or has a book of sorts. Since the camera seems to zoom in the episode 7, I think. So maybe, and Professor Xavier, not portrayed by James McAvoy, but by Patrick Stewart.
But maybe Patrick Stewart could be who Paul Bettany was talking about, who he admired a lot, always wanted to work with. He's a bit older than him, isn't he? So
no, I disagree. I don't know. I'll be so angry. I'm going to be infuriated. I'm going to be absolutely raging if I see Patrick Stewart coming out in his little wheelchair at the tender age of 195.
Well, I think we
got such an excellent swan song in Logan.
We have more chance of seeing Magneto Charles. I can't see Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, neither can I, because he had such a great swan song in Logan, and for him to come out in a TV show for the MCU, it just seems such a waste.
I think Kevin Feige did have a meeting with Patrick Stewart at some point.
Yeah, he did, and he just completely...
But he also said that he wrote the character off in Logan, didn't he?
Exactly.
I'd say that's too far out there for that to happen.
Yeah, that's I agree. That's too far out. Although I do somewhat agree with his sort of reasoning. Patrick Stewart is a very distinguished actor, so I see his reasoning. And he goes on. He says, we have 2 post-credit scenes in the last episode. The first is an Agatha scene with Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, who played the Nightmare in Madness, Multiverse of Madness.
Absolutely no chance.
Luke Skywalker.
I don't really know what to say to that. I just have to completely debunk it. But I also do think that Agatha's going to get away. Right. She'll get away. I don't think she'll die in this, and she might pop up in future MCU films. But Mark Hamill. Okay, I was going to say, I can see the Nightmare. But is that just saying it because he voiced him in the animated series?
I'm not sure. I mean, he's a great, obviously great voice actor, Joker. I mean, come on. But let's say he does appear. Do you think he'll be live action, or will it be like CGI and he'll just voice him?
Can't see CG. Mark Hamill going into it, although I've heard the last episode does involve more CG than Endgame.
Yeah, I think the budget for the last episode is like 50 million or 60 million or something.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and the budget for the whole season as a whole is 250 million or something, which is a whole blockbuster film by itself.
It would just be hilarious if it's a CG. I don't know what you think.
I know. It'll be quite amusing to sort of hear, Mark Hamill do his thing, his voice acting thing. But it'll be either way. Definitely funny to see. Hayward is a Skrull, and this is a starting point for Secret Invasion.
I can't see the point of them doing this, although I do think it's a possibility.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. It's kind of interesting, because obviously, Feige said that everything's sort of interconnected and sets up, something else. But why would he want Vision in the first place? And finally goes on to say Peter Maximoff and Peter Parker will be in the multiverse of madness.
It depends what direction they take. Well, as for Peter Parker, I thought, wasn't that already confirmed?
There haven't been any pictures of the actual set. I mean, one point could be because Doctor Strange is so heavily reliant on CGI that they don't really use many sets apart from, closed in sets. But yeah, there haven't really any pictures or whatnot.
Feige said that WandaVision ties into the multiverse of madness, and then after that is Spider-Man 3, correct?
Yeah.
So Peter Parker could well be in that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be a nice surprise. He hasn't been confirmed or anything, but yeah, that'll be interesting either way. So that was the end of the first theory. I hope you liked it. It was pretty fun to talk about. And anyways, have a great day and make sure to subscribe. Peace.